Art has been around for thousands of years. It is a way of expressing oneself and making a personal connection to the world around us. Art is much more than a brush stroking against a canvas. It is a part of our imagination come to life in the form of film, drawing, music, literature, and painting.
J. Elizalde was born on May 22, 1924 in Antique. He is a versatile artist, being both a professional painter and sculptor. His devotion to the visual arts spanned 40 years of drawing, printmaking, graphic designing, paintings, and sculpting. His masks carved in hardwood merge the human and the animal. His paintings consist of abstracts and figures in oil and watercolor, and his assemblages fuse found objects and metal parts. He has been known for his abstract art, such as oil on wood painting The Seasons. In this enigmatic oil on wood, national artist J. Elizalde Navarro creates an eruption of color through exaggerated and sweeping pointillist strokes, creating an abstraction that breaks the barrier between artwork and frame. Then, a mixed media like I'm Sorry Jesus, I Can't Attend Christmas This Year, and a flying contraption for Mr. Icarus. For as Jerry Navarro pointed out, artistry is not the result of financial or social access, but rather the ability to forge beyond consensus and compromise in order to be truly unique and autonomous. This was why style was irrelevant.
Fernando Amarsola was a portraitist and painter of rural Philippine landscape. He was the Philippines' first national artist and is officially recognized as the Grand Old Man of the Philippine art. He graduated with honors from the Art School of the Lecce de Manila, then enrolled in the UP Diliman College of Fine Arts at the tender age of 17, where he was mentored by his uncle and prominent Philippine painter, Fabian de la Rosa. He painted and sketched more than 10,000 pieces over his lifetime using natural and backlighting techniques.
The making of the Philippine flag is one of the most famous paintings in the Philippines. Fernando Amarsola used natural light in his painting and developed the backlighting technique. Chiaroscuro shows a contrast of colors of brown to yellow. It is not a harmonious. The artist balances characters and the background in his painting, which makes the painting balanced. There are no real lines in the painting because it is painted in a pointillist style. The colors of the author set the moods of the audiences as warm by the usage of brown and yellow colors. The yellow background signifies that it's a beautiful sunny day. The colors of the characters were also constructed with the background, which made the painting come as it's seen. The artist showed rough texture in some parts of the painting, namely the dresses as well as in the backgrounds. The artist uses a different color values for the dresses also to differentiate it from the background. That made the painting realistic scene.
First is Carlos Botong Francisco, better known as Botong, was a Filipino muralist from Ongona, Rizal. He was one of the most distinguished practitioners of mural painting for many decades and best known for his historical places.
His great works include the portrayals of the Blood Compact, First Mass at Limawasa, the Martyrdom of Rizal, Bayanihan, Magpupukot, Fiesta, Bayanihan sa Bukid, Sandugo, Portrait of Purita, The Invasion of Limahong, Serenade, and Muslim Betrothal. Francisco's work is characterized by his flawless sense of composition, smooth lines, and abundant use of colors. He also employed bold block colors, rhythmic lines, and decorative patterns. He evoked the communal life of Philippine gatherings and celebration. His images were drawn from mythology, history, legend, and from contemporary Philippine village life. Francisco has been maximizing the occupation of space and good interaction of lines, shape, and forms in creating his desired subjects of the painting. Moreover, his exceptional use of colors, value, and texture has made his artworks realistic and perceivable in the eye. Francisco has been using a variety of elements together in one composition, and these elements become harmonious in nature. With Francisco's artwork, he was able to showcase a unique kind of masterpiece that embodies the real-life setting. The composition of his artwork was realistic, especially with how he made use of a simple material like oil painting. With such way of method, an individual could foresee itself being in that kind of setting, which paved way of a creative form of communicating the artwork to its viewers. One of Francisco's major masterpieces is the mural for the Bulwagang Katipunan of the Manila City Hall, commissioned by Manila Mayor Antonio Villegas during his administration. It is entitled Filipino Struggles Through History, chronicles the history of Manila from the first great rajas of Tondo, the Spanish colonial period, Balagtas, Rizal and the Revolution of 1896, up to the American colonial period, which became the history of the entire nation itself.
Felix Resurrección Hidalgo was a Filipino painter sprung during 19th century. He was the third son among the 7 children of Eduardo Resurrección Hidalgo and Maria Barbara Padilla, and was born on February 21, 1853 in Manila. He studied at the University of Santo Tomas and at the same time enrolled in Escuela de Dibujo y Pintura. He also enrolled at the Académica de Bellas Artes de San Fernando de Madrid. And these are the following masterpieces of Felix Resurrección Hidalgo. La Barca de Aqueronte, or the Boat of Charon. In the Exposition General de las Islas Filipinas in Madrid in 1887. Resurrección Hidalgo presented La Barca de Aqueronte, for which he received a gold medal, and shown again at the Exposition Universelle de Paris, and was awarded a silver medal by an international jury. In 1891, it was accorded a diploma de honor at the Exposition General de Bellas Artes of Barcelona. This painting also received a gold medal in the International Exposition of Fine Arts in Madrid, and it was finally bought by the Spanish government for 7,500 petates. Las Vírgenes Cristianas Expuestas al Palacio, or the English translation, the Christian Virgins being exposed to the populace. This painting was a silver medalist, which is 9th silver medal award among 45 during the 1884 Exposition General de Bellas Artes in Madrid, Spain, also known as the Madrid Exposition. Because according to Raquel A.J. Reyes, Hidalgo winning the silver medal for the painting was a landmark achievement that proved the ability of Filipino to match the work of Spaniard, and laid claim to Filipino participation in European culture. Regarded as one of the national treasures of the Philippines, a copy of the painting is a part of the art collection of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. And the original was destroyed in the fire at the University of Valladolid in Spain. Since 2015, the painting is currently on 5-year loan to National Gallery Singapore as a part of Southeast Asian art galleries.
Victorio Idades. Victorio Candido Idades was a Filipino painter and a national artist of the Philippines. He led revolutionary 13 moderns who engaged their classical compatriots in heated debate over the nature and function of art. Idades received the Pro Patria Award during the Rizal Centennial celebration in 1961 and patnubay ng Sinsing at Kalinangan Award from the city of Manila in 1964. He was proclaimed National Artist in Painting in 1976. Some works of Victorio Idades. The sketch was painted in 1928. It was an oil and canvas painting. The Builders was a finished product that rediscovered the complexities of the human body and the struggle for recognition. The nude builders and blacks against a dark background unearthed an interesting note towards progress, that in spite of having peers around, you are on your own in your own work.
Filipino artist Ernest Concepcion is known for paintings that combine a landscape with caricature of warfare. He began exploring with his juxtaposition in 2003 with The Line Wars, a series of black and white drawings that depict inanimate objects like flying chairs and pianos as officers in war. Ernest Concepcion earned his BFA from the University of the Philippines, Diliman, and currently lives in Brooklyn. Beginning with ink, drawing on paper, his practice has expanded to include work in colored pencil, oil and acrylic paints, printmaking, and sculpture. Concepcion is a studio artist whose work experiment with intense emotion, distracting images in his paintings, sculptures, and installations. He creates art like recording a music album where each painting is from a series of 9. A graduate of the University of the Philippines, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Concepcion has produced a significant body of work with a particular interest in experimentation in the fields of painting, sculpture, and installation.
Ernest Concepcion's famous artworks include The Invasion of Brignac at the Rockland Center for the Arts, BRB Christ, YMG Christ, Swamp Things, Birth of Dynasty, and Golgotha Rock.
The next artist is Arturo Luz. Arturo Luz, a painter, sculptor, and designer for more than 40 years, oh my god, that was so long, created masterpieces that exemplify an ideal of sublime austerity and expression and form. From the Carnival series of the late 1950s to the recent cyclist paintings, Luz produced works that elevated Filipino aesthetic vision to new heights of sophisticated simplicity. By establishing the Luz Gallery that professionalized the art gallery as an institution and set a prestigious influence over generations of Filipino artists, Luz inspired and developed a Filipino artistic community that nurtures impeccable designs. Arturo Luz was head of 3 premier art institutions: Design Center Philippines, the Metropolitan Museum of Manila, and the Museum of Philippine Art. The artist is known for his geometric, linear, minimalist art, often distilling his subject to their quintessence: street musicians, vendors, acrobats, cyclist carousels, imaginary landscapes, and cities of the past. Among Luz's famous works include the paintings Candle Vendors and Cities of the Past. Candle Vendors defies all concepts of spatial dimension through the eyes of the spectator. In the foreground, 3 candlestick vendors are grouped together, line of sight angle above them as the viewer looks down at the candle resting on braided baskets. But, as the eye follows the gaze of the rightmost vendor, a checkered path slopes upward in the far left, leading the observer towards an enigmatic darkness, adding intrigue to an already stimulating piece de resistance. Second is the cities of the past. A city emerges from intricate grids of white, structurally sound and powerful. Arturo Luz builds a fictitious city of old, flourishing with pagodas and domes alike. Inspired by the elaborate manifestation of architectural design, Arturo Luz explores his muse, using minimalized built structure to show a tangent between the rational ideal and its probability and actualization. Luz creates in his perfectly composed domains a utopia, a city of the past that strikes a nostalgia for the ideal.
Victor Cabrera, better known as Ben Cab, is considered the preeminent Filipino painter of his generation. Primarily figurative, Cabrera's work often depicts women and occasionally men wrapped in swirling, bundled fabric and tape. He was born on April 10, 1942 in Malabon, Philippines, and studied at the University of the Philippines. In 1962, he won first prize for his oil painting at the Talipapa or market in a student competition, and was hired soon after by the national paper as the Sunday illustrator.
Cabrera's first exhibition of oil and acrylic painting was held at the Indigo Gallery in Mabini in 1965. Sabel, inspired by a real-life scavenger. It is oil on canvas and emphasized the face of Sabel, which is plain but full of emotion. He made use of primary and bright colors contrasted with dark background, directing the eyes of the viewers to Sabel's face.
Next in line is Ann Cuco. Ann Cuco was a renowned Filipino expressionist whose colorful and striking paintings portrayed a variety of cubist-like figures. He often chose dynamic or disturbing subject matter,
frequently depicting rabid dogs, crucifixions, and screaming figures in an abstracted geometric style, such as a mother embracing her infant, grisly crucifixions, table holdings an array of fish and fruit, stray dogs, and screaming subjects. As someone who has a Catholic background, he painted multiple depictions of the crucified Christ that did not shirk from portraying the agonies normally associated with the crucifixion. He has used oil and canvas, collage, gouaches, and inks to open the eyes of the afflictions that was happening in the surroundings.
One of the famous artwork done by Ang is the masterpiece that was called Crucifixion. It depicts one of the religious motifs in his distinctive Philippine modernist style, which focuses heavily on the distribution of colors and forms. For Ang, the crucifixion motif is not an image of reverence or religious devotion. Rather, it takes on something more symbolic. Ang's personal desire to paint what he feels rather than to just rehash themes within the canon of religious art. Ang employs the use of vernacular visual, which he no doubt encountered during his trip to Paris, with the motive of intersecting planar form across the background of crucifixion. However, he had his own unique style by paring down his color palette and creating dramatic juxtapositions through his dramatic use of colors, giving his works the effect of stained glass he no doubt saw in the Catholic churches in his homeland in the Philippines. In here, the largely monochromatic palette is offset by his restrained and precisely chosen use of red. Modernist overtures are found in his use of thorns as a decorative visual pattern, reducing the classical religious tones of crucifixion to a symbol. Crucifixion is a superb example of Ang's masterful techniques and years of experimentation, and a testament to why his works are highly sought after and difficult to come by.
Hoya, National Artist for Visual Arts in 2003. T. Hoya is a multimedia artist and painter which is distinguished himself by creating an authentic Filipino abstract idiom that transcends foreign influences. And most of Hoya paintings of harmonious colors were inspired by Philippine landscape, such as green rice paddies and golden fields of harvest. And while attending to the University of the Philippines, Hoya introduced the painting of Fernando Amor Solo, which is he inspired to become an artist. And one of the art of Hoya is space transfiguration. This painting acclaimed and accorded a prize at the 12 Art Association of the Philippines annual exhibition and competition of 1959. This is the one of the most favorite piece of Hoya and the one where he refused to part with. And this painting showed the great freedom depicted in a storm of brush stroke of vivid, violent colors which Hoya was handling paint. A freedom which, long after his death, continued to liberate Philippine painting towards the end of the 20th century. This Granadine Arabesque, a masterpiece by national artist Jose Hoya, is a horizontal abstract painting which showcases different shades of yellow and features board stroke and swipe of impaste tunic with sand. It is a masterful execution of textures and composition an embodiment of Hoya talent as a mixed media artist and a pioneer of modern art in the Philippines. This 1958 oil on canvas with a size of 305 cm by 118 cm was among the work of Hoya showcased to represent the Philippines in the prestigious in 1964. This was the first time that the Philippines participated in the world's longest running biennial and the leading showplace for the contemporary art and the international avant-garde. And Jose Hoya has contributed a lot to the country field of arts. And this painting is now in the collection of Ateneo Art Gallery.
Vicente Manansala. Vicente Silva Manansala was a Filipino cubist painter and illustrator. He was a member of the prominent Cruz, Manansala, Lopez family clan. Here are some works of Vicente Manansala. Ang Magbabayo. It was painted in 1976. This picture shows the traditional way of Filipino on milling a rice. Not like nowadays, they use machines. This is one of the culture of Filipinos. Tiangge or market scene that focuses to market vendors. The tiangge or market scene that focuses to market vendors is a perfect illustration of Vicente Silva Manansalas of his iconic transparent cubism. His sensitivity to realist details and his deftness in securing the point of perfect balance between representation and structure, and it inspired by the local life around him.
Next artist is Elmer Burlongan. Elmer Misa Burlongan is a prominent contemporary Filipino painter, best known for his distinctive use of figurative expressionism. He rose to prominence as a recipient of the Cultural Center of the Philippines, 13 Artist Awards in 1994, and his works have since become one of the most widely exhibited and most sought after at auctions among Southeast Asian artists. His work describes figurative expressionism. His paintings are characterized by stylized figuration and idiosyncratic features such as bulb heads, large, uneven eyes, and elongated lines. His subjects are rendered in distorted forms and posed in front of minimal background in order to amplify the everyday struggles of urban life in Manila. Notably, characters under his portrayal always process expressions of disconcertment and despair, highlighting the emotional depth and downtrodden of society. Gifted with a sense of sensitivity and compassion, Burlongan is not only keen to evoke empathy through his paintings, but also to expose the humor implicit in the ordinary lives of people, as well as feats of resilience and vivacity in the face of poverty and hardships. The present work, Waiting Shed, is an excellent example of the artist's trademark style and lifelong devotion represent the existence of urban life in the Philippines. In his signature use of contorted visages and elongated bodies, a depiction of a young boy playfully riding on his father's shoulders, along with a cat waiting in a desolated shed, offers a whimsical glimpse of the ordinary daily life. Burlongan's desire to show basic existences of the people through hints of humor, strains of decay, and enchantment of play has garnered his paintings a sense of authenticity.
Juan Luna was a Filipino painter, sculptor, and a political activist of the Philippine Revolution during the late 19th century. He became one of the first recognized Philippine artists. His work is remembered as one of the principal examples of Romanticism and Realism schools. Juan Luna is without doubt the most famous and celebrated Filipino artist in the history of Philippines. With iconic and remarkable masterpiece, Luna is known for his dynamic and unique style, along with his dramatic and captivating canvases.
Next in line is Pasita Abad. Pasita Abad became a nomadic artist, painting the globe while working on 6 continents. She created more than 4,500 works that have been exhibited in hundreds of museums and galleries around the world. Abad's humanitarian art comprised wide spectrum, including paintings of displaced people, political violence and refugees, hand-stitched trapunto, works depicting mass and spirits, nature renderings of the undersea world and tropical flowers, and finally, her most vibrant and abstract painted textile collage and assemblage.
Abad's work is defined by color and transformation. She developed a unique style which she called trapunto painting, that joined painted canvas with hand-stitched textiles, shells, mirrors, and other found objects. She also made prints, paper, collage, and other works on bark cloth, glass, metal, and ceramics. Abad created public art installations, culminating in the painting of the 55-meter-long Singapore Art Bridge, covered it with 2,350 multicolored circles, which she completed while she was being treated for cancer.
Hernando Ruiz Ocampo was a Filipino artist and he was best known for his abstract painting. He was born on April 28, 1911, Manila, Philippines, and taught himself to paint. Ocampo had a background as a writer and originally studied law and creative writing before teaching himself art. He was started his career as a member of Saturday Group along with Vicente Manansala and Cesar Legazpi. And over the course of his career, his interest evolved from depictions of workers to abstract form. And on the next slide, I will show you some of the major works of Hernando Ruiz Ocampo. Homage to the Heroes. In his piece titled Homage to the Heroes of 1896, one can easily see the affinity and respect of Ocampo had for the storied heroes of the Philippines. Rendered in a variety of red and orange tones, Ocampo piece can be seen as an interpretation of the energetic will that animated of our forefathers towards the fight for freedom and independency. In orange tone can be seen as a representation of the fairy zeal of the revolution, while its red component can be seen as both of the blood spilled by the countless sacrifices made by the Filipino revolutionaries and as a fervent spirit that continues to unify us today. Ocampo work is a synthesis of the ideas of our history heroes and the realities of their insurmountable sacrifices. Genesis is one of the big part of arts in cultural center of the Philippines, which is the Sui Generis. This is a big salon of the stage of Nicanor Abelardo. This is one of the copy of his oil painting, which is the Genesis, and this painting represents fire to give the light just to suppress the darkness. This is one of the reasons also why he awarded National Artist in Visual Arts on 1991.
Hanay Cabigting is a Filipino ASEAN modern and contemporary painter who was born in 1974. Filipino artist Hanay Cabigting explores the concept of appropriation to examine an artwork's intrinsic character. Her most well-known paintings depict people looking at paintings created by big-names artists like Jackson Pollock, Vermeer, and Mark Rothko. Her art brought her to creating digital graphics as she rose to become a creative director of a content company that provided graphics to the leading telcos. This further led her to eventually set up small advertising agency catering the multinationals.
Hanay Cabigting famous artworks include Leslie, MoMA, Amongst the Lost People, An Audience with Vermeer, and Chevalier.
Ronald Ventura. Ronald Ventura is a leading figure in Southeast Asian contemporary art. His intricately layered paintings and multimedia artworks intertwine historically laden symbols with pop culture signifiers, creating richly imaginative compositions that act as a metaphor for the multifaceted national identity of the Philippines. Here are some works of Ronald Bintour. Grey Ground on 2011 set a record for the most ever paid for a work of Southeast Asian contemporary art when it sold for $1 million at Sotheby's Modern and Contemporary Southeast Asian Paintings auction in Hong Kong in 2011. In addition of his paintings, Island on 2018, Zookeeper in 2015, Sneak Peek on 2016, Wide Walls, and Close.
Art brings meaning into people's lives and helps preserve the world's cultures and societies. It is a manifestation of society and a reflection of people's intricate identities. Being an artist isn't just about putting pencil to paper or brush to canvas. Art can and does mean so much more than that. Art can be a challenge. Art can be both frustrating and rewarding at the same time, leading to a sense of accomplishment or a determination to do more. Art can be anything and everything you let it be. Get that paintbrush, that pastel, and let art take you where it will. Explore and experiment, do something different.
Art helps us to socialize with people, to open up with people because art gives people the clear and comfortable mindset by listening to different perspectives and views as well as by interpretations of the art and our people's life. Through art, you can learn so many things. You can be creative as you want as long as you meet the criteria of art, even abstract or any kind. Your confidence and self-esteem may develop, and even your skills and talents. Arts has power to engage you fully, bringing you into the present moment and bringing the best in you. It may reduce stress, your leisure time on doing it, your hobby, source of money, and even your occupation. Additionally, it reflects our ever-changing culture and has the ability to alter society's values. Moreover, art brings meaning into people's lives and helps preserve the world's culture and societies. It is a manifestation of people's indicated identities. To conclude, art is everything.
Art gives meaning to our lives and helps us understand our world. It increases our self-awareness and also allow us to be open to new ideas and experiences. Painting, sculpture, music, literature, and the other arts are often considered to be the repository of a society's collective memory. We should remember that art can be seen everywhere. That's why let's appreciate it.
There are many people who dismiss the arts as insignificant with no lasting impact in comparison to technologies that revolutionize the world. Artists aren't looked up to with the same reverence as engineers and doctors. Art society expands and grows. Art changes to reflect its new developments. Art reflects our history and documents the crucial component of our lives. Just like the sciences, art has the power to revolutionize the world. It reflects our ever-changing culture and has the ability to alter society's values.
Throughout the video, what I realized is art of heart of art. As we all know, is a means of communication. Artists communicate with others through their work, and each piece of artwork contains the artist's motivation and thoughts.
Performing this task, I have came to realize that there are a lot of Filipino artists who are very talented and inspiring. Their artworks doesn't only reflect about themselves, but it also showcases and depicts significant parts in our history. I feel that we should give them value and appreciate their efforts, for they play a great role not only in the past but for the upcoming future.